Hey everyone, welcome to Whitmore's Trains. My name's Wes. I wanted to give you kind of some commentary on the video layout videos. My layouts usually run for 10 minutes or so. That's about how long it takes for the train to make its full route up and down the helix. So I thought I'd just kind of do a voiceover and see how that goes. So my layout actually has, I think, 11 trains running right now. I'll help count that out later on. But so there are where the CP genset is now. That's that's one of the 3 trains that continually run on the inside helix, and so that train there just came off the top, and it's going to go down around that Snyder building that I have kind of hiding under the city there, and it's about the only part of the layout that's actually finished. I'm working on coming around to this little view window that I have so you guys can see what's going on in there, but there's a sneak peek of the army train coming around the very bottom of the helix. So as you look into this window, you can kind of see there's three tracks in there. There's an 031 right in front of the building, and then an 042 in the middle, and then an 054 at the very, I guess, bottom of that window. So kind of gives a better view of what's going on in there. And then the CN in Saskatchewan train, that's my almost, I guess, my second biggest loop of track, and that's an 054 and an 072, and then where the Amtrak is and the big boy are running, it's 072 on all curves. So that's the biggest part of, the biggest curves I have on this layout is 072, and just on that outside track. But the good thing, kind of the cool thing about that outside track is there's I can run 2 trains at one time, and there's like a stop-start feature, electronics, just like it's in my helix. So 2 trains can run and they won't hit each other. So that's nice. So that's where I have 6 trains kind of running on the main layout, and then I believe I've got 5 running on the sides. I call them active shelves, but we'll look at those here later on. In fact, I think I start pointing them out here. So the top one right now doesn't have track all the way around it, but the one where the double stacks go, that is an 031 loop all the way around, and then on the inside of that, where you see the BNSF, it doesn't have a second inner track. And the bottom one has right now also just the 031, no inside track, and but I'm running 2 trains on the bottom one right now. And then this is the only track that has 2 actual loops of track, and I've experimented with the inside where you're seeing the Mohawk come in on the right is an 054, and then of course the outside is like all the rest of the tracks there, it's 031. So with with that inner track where the Mohawk is, I can run an 054 minimum curve. So I'm probably going to keep that, and then and build that inner loop on the rest of the layers, the levels of shelving as well. So then that way I can run 2 trains on each shelf level, and I'll probably end up turning one around and send the 054, clockwise. The outer 031 can be counterclockwise. So I generally like to have my trains running in the same direction. I just think it looks better. And then when 2 are, passing one another, which I guess is prototypical, but I generally don't do that. So that's why on my outer layer, the top layer on the 2 outer loops, you'll see that I generally run them in the same direction. And it's just I've always gone clockwise on those ones up top. So as you can see, the genset has just come up the hill and is going around the city, and then it will go back down. So I don't know if my video will show you the trigger of when those trains stop and go, but if it does, I will point it out. So when I watch my trains, I just fire them all up and I just walk around, so I never really know what I'm gonna see. And that's kind of what is kind of cool about this, is every time I run the train it's different. So I just did complete that girder bridge curve up there. I didn't point that out until just now, so that's generally how this works. Is I do little things, and they're not worthy of their own video. So if you see them, you see something different, good eye. I'll try to pick some of the stuff out today too. So that right there, that genset just came down the city, and it's going in the 042 around the Schneider building under the city, and then there's the an Army train that's on the 054 loop. So I can run 054 all the way from top to bottom, and that train, the Army train, wants 054. So I don't think that train is going to stop, because the genset, if it crosses on the other side of that ravine, it'll hit the trigger track, which it did. So it didn't even, the Army train didn't even have to stop. Of course, the genset's going to go around and stop and wait, because it can't go up the hill because the Army train's up there. So I think we'll end up watching both of these trains kind of, I guess, meander around, that side of the track and then come back around. So yeah, the Army trains are going to go in the back side of the 054 loop. And I might, let's see where my camera goes here, because I've already shot this and I'm just looking at it for the first time now. So right about there is a switch to get over to that siding where you saw the Canadian Pacific Christmas train, and that's it's a new area that I just built. So it's not a loop, it's just I'd be able to back into it, from that 054. If I stop the Army train now, I could back into it. But so right now I'm just using it to park that holiday train, and which is new, by the way. I've been looking for that forever. I finally got one. So the Army train is it's gonna work around the city. There's that new girder piece. It's a Scenic Express girder bridge. I just double-sided taped it on. So it's going to be coming down this incline of around 3%, and I think I'm going to follow a lot of that Army train down just so you can see what's going on in the helix. So it's going to work its way around and then go under the city, and you can see the red genset there is waiting, because there's this, there's only one track. So I don't have my track signal lights even purchased, but when I do, they'll be activated, based off of track availability, I guess. So as it slowly works its way around, you can see that Kroger blue car is actually the end of the genset train, so it's a pretty long train. So the Army train is going under the city, and then we'll come back behind that Kroger boxcar. You can see right below the green building, I kind of zoomed in there. There it is. There's the Army train there. So now we're starting to go down into the decline into the helix. So it's and right about that spot where it disappears as a trigger, that it'll touch ground and then trip a relay and release the genset, because it's safe. So the genset's going to go up and come back down. So there's the Army train, and the other train in the helix is sitting there waiting for the Army train to get around quite a bit more of the layout, because those are basically passing sidings there. So I think I just kind of move on down to these the trains that are running on the active shelves here. So it's an Lionel just running in conventional mode, and then that's an Army Shark, a Lionel Army Shark, Powered A, Dummy B, and it's also running in just conventional. And then the level that's the Army also has the Mohawk on it, so you may see it, you may not. They all run at different speeds. I don't really set them, because each of those tracks are set on a Z1000. So they're just whatever speed I set them at when I turn them on. So okay, here's the Army train. It just actually released that train that we passed about a minute ago. So it's going on its way up, and then this train is going to actually go across this ravine here. So we can see that there, and then it works all the way around that 054 curve. And if I was at the end of the layout, you'd see it again. I think I showed it in the beginning of the video. So we're getting close to having a full lap there. So it's going to come around and eventually get back up that ramp and then go around and stop just where the CSX was waiting. So we always have to have the train that was released come back down to release the train that's waiting. So it's just a continual loop. So this is the back end of the layout, and it's definitely less finished than the other side, and I do intend to make it look like the other side, but I have to leave an opening to get in. So it'll probably be probably that second set in of I don't know, it's hard to tell you where it is, about 4 foot in from on in to the center. Then I'll just probably do lift outs, because I've got to do do a lift out bridge for every one of those shelves if I can get in there. So there's a train coming back up, and then it's going to probably do another 30 seconds or so, then it'll stop. And then that just released the CSX right now, actually. So, and you'll see it. There's the CSX, and that's actually Max, my son's CSX. But it's a starter, MTH starter, Rail King box set, and it's been great. I mean, it's pretty much always on the layout. It doesn't really pull too many cars just because it's not very heavy. So you'll see that it consists is usually a little bit shorter than the rest of them. But so it'll work around here, and that's it. Have a good day.